Hello, all the listeners to Radio Campesina. My name is Arturo Rodriguez, President Emeritus of the United Farm Workers. And today we have a very well-known guest with us who is no stranger to all of you listening in Nevada, California, Arizona with us today. And it's so good that we have the opportunity to hear from him right before the closing of the final hours of the 2020 presidential election, this critical time for all of us here in America. Welcome, Senator Bernie Sanders. It's such a great honor to have you with us here today.
Arturo, it is a pleasure for me to be with you again.
Thank you very much. So, Bernie, Tuesday, November 3rd, it's the final day to vote. What is so important for people to go out and vote, especially in the states of Nevada and Arizona?
Well, this is, in fact, the most important election in the modern history of this country. And it's not just, Arturo, about getting rid of a president who is a pathological liar, a president who does not believe in science, which is why we are seeing surges in the COVID pandemic all over this country, who is threatening to fire Dr. Fauci. And it's not just that we have a president who doesn't even believe in democracy, who is telling us that he may not leave office if he loses the election. What this election is also about is speaking to the needs of working people all across this country whose needs have been neglected for a very long time. If you're working out there and you're making 10, 12 bucks an hour, Joe Biden wants to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. If you're a woman making 70 cents on the dollar compared to men, Biden wants equal pay for equal work. If you want to join a union, Biden believes we should make it easier for workers to join unions. If you're unemployed, Biden wants to spend trillions rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure and creating millions of good-paying jobs, expanding health care to all people, lowering the cost of prescription drugs, making public colleges and universities tuition-free. So this campaign, Arturo, is not just about Trump and his lies and his racism and his xenophobia. It is about moving in a direction where we have a government that represents working families, not just the people on top.
That's so critical and important for all of us to really understand your message there. You know, you've done a tremendous job at reaching out to folks. You've had a tremendous impact on the way that we look at this, not only this election, but in previous elections. And what are you saying to young Latinos, to people of color, that this is so, you said, I mean, it's such an important, critical election. Why is it important for them, Bernie, to go out and vote?
Well, it's enormously important for so many reasons, Arturo. Number one, as a nation, we cannot continue to have a president who is trying to divide us up. Right? I am the son of an immigrant. That's all. My father came from Poland. I am sick and tired of hearing immigrants demonized. I'm sick and tired of seeing a president who's trying to divide us up based on the color of our skin, where we were born, or our sexual orientation, or our religion. That is not what America is supposed to be about. We are proud that we come together as one people, not having a president divide us up. So that's issue number one. And issue number two, young people, especially Latino, African American young people, are struggling economically right now. In fact, the younger generation today, if we do not get our act together, is going to have a lower standard of living than their parents. We got millions of young kids who want to go out on their own, get an apartment, get a house, get married. They can't afford to do that because the income they're earning is actually less than what their parents were earning. The jobs they are having today are not paying them a living wage. They're leaving college, if they are fortunate enough to be able to go to college, deeply in debt. So what we need to do is start focusing not on the needs of billionaires and the very wealthy, they are doing phenomenally well, but start paying attention to the needs of young people and working people who are struggling in a way that we have not seen for a very long time.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that and what your wisdom is around that particular area, Bernie. You know, we understand that the Trump administration is trying to lower the wages of all farm workers by changing the H-2A regulations before the end of his administration. What would the Biden administration and you, Senator, do to make sure that farm worker wages are protected?
It is so outrageous that at a time when farm workers are being ruthlessly exploited, that Trump would make a bad situation worse. Bottom line is that agricultural work is enormously important. It is enormously difficult. That's hard work. And we have got to treat farm workers the way we treat any other worker in America and make sure that they are entitled to all of the same legal rights that any other worker is. And that means you're entitled to a minimum wage, which, if I have anything to say about it, will be $15 an hour. It means that if you work 40 hours a week, you get time and a half. It means that you're entitled, when you pay in, to get Social Security and Medicare. It means that you certainly have the right to form a union. We're going to make it easier. I know farm workers have been struggling with this for a long time against oppressive companies who are making it very difficult for workers to unionize. So those are some of the things that have to be done to protect farm workers who are feeding this nation. I want to thank all of the agricultural workers who are working so hard for what they are doing.
Thank you very much, Bernie. That's so important. And I know everybody who's listening today are going to be inspired by your words and your thoughts in regards to that particular issue. Bernie, why do you believe that at this point in time in our history that Vice President Biden, Senator Harris are the right people to take over the White House?
Well, I think I know both of them, obviously. Kamala Harris is a colleague of mine in the Senate, so I've known her for a number of years, and I've known Joe Biden for many, many years. And I think that both of them have a understanding. Joe comes from a working class family. Kamala will be the first woman of color ever elected to the vice presidency. And she and her family have had to deal with discrimination. So I think you're looking at two people who really have a sense of the pain that so many people in this country have struggled with and are struggling with right now. And I am confident that we are going to have a Democratic Senate and a Democratic House that will be able to provide them with strong legislation that improves the standard of living for all Americans. Just one example, Arturo. You got a president right now in Trump who wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act and throw 22 million people off the health care that they have. What Biden and Harris want to do is expand health care to cover all people and lower the cost of prescription drugs. And that is because they have a sense, they know what it means to be without health insurance right now. So I think the differences between Biden and Trump are day and night. And any worker who takes a hard look at what each of them stands for, I think has got to conclude that Joe Biden is the person we vote for tomorrow.
That's well said. You know, Bernie, there's only a few hours left before the polls close Tuesday night. And what would you tell those folks right now that are kind of sitting back and saying, well, my vote doesn't count, you know, it's not important, you know, it's already in the bag?
No. Let me just say it. You know, let me tell you one thing that I know for sure. This election is not in the bag. Arturo, you're looking at a guy who won his first election as mayor of the city of Burlington by 10 votes after a recount. Every vote counts. Every vote counts. And it may well be that in Nevada or wherever, there will be a handful of votes that will determine who wins a given state, and that state can make the difference about who the next president of the United States is. So don't expect other people to do it for you. You got to play your role. You've got to come out and vote. You've got to bring your friends and your neighbors out to vote. Let's have the largest voter turnout by far in the history of the United States. Let us take this country in a way forward based on principles of justice, not racism, not discrimination, not dividing us up. And that's what this election is about. So I hope that in the remaining hours before Election Day and tomorrow, everybody who can will come out to vote and bring your friends with you. Arturo, thank you very, very much. We've got to move it along.
Bernie, thank you so much. We really appreciate your participation here with us on Barrio Campesina. And now, folks, I mean, you've heard it from one of the major leaders within our nation, formally and continues to do everything that he possibly can to really energize us, but to give us a different perspective on how we should be looking at things. Thank you so much, Bernie Sanders, for all your leadership.
Your great work. Bye-bye.